we are climbing Mount Davis, and my ears are popping like a freaking maniac, and I think we just hit the peak. And Jill's gonna take some pictures of the peak right now, and I'll put that up on there. It's just kind of like a plateau.
As legends go,
he was a valiant and a brave man who gave his life fighting Indians.
this one carries quite a punch.
He told the settlers to continue on. Don't worry about him. He'll be okay.
He was buried up here in a makeshift grave.
An effort like that deserves recognition. A place where his name can be remembered forever. A place called
Negro Mountain.
Negro Mountain.
Negro Mountain.
It was named in the 1700s.
It's a linear ridge going from Maryland trending northeast into Pennsylvania that's about 30 miles long.
The highest point in our state, Mount Davis, is part of Negro Mountain.
You would expect something like this in Alabama or Mississippi, not in a northern state. Or
Youngblood and other state lawmakers would like to see his actual name go up here. And legend says his name was Nemesis.
I think it's ridiculous, especially since you know the man's name was Nemesis.
Mount Davis is part of the range, the Negro Mountain range. It wasn't, Mount White landowner.
I got here in 1999, and it was weird for me to see something named Negro Mountain.
The National Board on Geographic Names says they're willing to change it as long as the public agrees.
It's the people's mountain, and if the people wanted change, we should honor that.
It is up to the federal government to rename the mountain, so the lawmakers asked the U.S. Geological Survey to rename it Mount Nemesis.
I was kind of flabbergasted at the simple fact that we have a mountain range named Negro Mountain in the 21st century.
An Allegheny Mountain ridge, stretching some 30 miles from the Casselman River in southern Somerset County to Deep Creek Lake in western Maryland, has been the focus of controversy as attempts continue to change a name dating back to the French and Indian War. The name in question is Negro Mountain. How did this mountain get its name? And in 2022, why does this exist? As a matter of fact, much debate has circled this mountain, but let's begin at the beginning so we can fully understand the story of Negro Mountain and why some people say this name shouldn't be hidden, but remembered for the man who gave his life here. Michael Cressup was a frontiersman born in Maryland on April 17, 1742. He spent part of his adult years in the Ohio country as a fur trader and land developer. He led several raids against American Indians, whom he believed were hostile to white settlement and increasingly violent encroachment onto and forcible seizure of American Indian lands. Logan, a prominent Seneca-Cayuga leader, accused Cressup of murdering his family. Cressup did not happen to be involved in this particular instance of brutality, but he was immortalized in Logan's speech, known as Logan's Lament, and quoted in Thomas Jefferson's notes on the state of Virginia as the murderer of Logan's family. As a result of the murders, Logan waged war on the settlements along the Ohio River and in western Pennsylvania. John Murray and Lord Dunmore raised an army and appointed Cressup to the rank of captain. The decisive battle of Lord Dunmore's War was the Battle of Point Pleasant. Here, Dunmore's forces defeated a group of Shawnee led by Hokulesqua, or Cornstalk. After Lord Dunmore's War, Cressup returned to Maryland and subsequently raised a company of riflemen for the Continental Army during the American Revolution. George Washington commissioned him a colonel. He died in the service of the Army on October 18, 1775. Before Cressup's death, there was a tale long lost in the history books, the story of Nemesis.
We are climbing another hill. We are 1 mile away from Davis. It's coming hard. So, I don't know why it's coming hard, but it is. I can feel it. This is very like empty, weird. Let me show you.
The most commonly accepted historical account as to how Negro Mountain received its name can be traced to the 1750s. Colonel Thomas Cressup and his servant Nemesis were tracking a group of American Indians whom some say had attacked a settlement near present-day Old Town in Allegheny County. It was said a family had been murdered and the horses stolen. Others write Nemesis was requested to accompany a ranging party that regularly scouted the frontier in order to protect homes from attack. Either way, Nemesis had a premonition. He would not return. One evening while cleaning his weapon, Nemesis told Cressup that he would not be coming back. Cressup thought Nemesis was afraid or going to run away. He jestingly offered Nemesis the opportunity to remain behind with the women if he was afraid. Nemesis replied he was not scared, but simply stating a fact. Cressup's party pursued the Indians over present-day Savage and Meadow Mountains to the next mountain where a fierce battle ensued. Nemesis fought bravely. He was killed and buried on site. Cressup named the mountain in honor of Nemesis's race, and it was ever since been known as Negro Mountain. Nemesis was said to have been a large and powerful built man. Negro Mountain remains a memorial and historic tribute to the presence of his black frontiersmen. Based upon research undertaken by historian Francis Zumbrin, a letter sent to the Maryland Gazette in 1756 by Thomas Cressup explains the naming of the mountain. It states that it was a free black man who had accompanied his volunteer rangers during the French and Indian War, and who had died heroically in battle while saving Cressup's life. Zumbrin, a retired forester for the Maryland Department of Natural Resources and local historian, also notes that the mountain is named in honor of one of the earliest free black frontiersmen on record in American colonial history. The name has been used consistently at least since 1841, according to the United States Geological Survey. Negro Ridge was cited in the Pennsylvania Senate Journal in 1842. If a name is offensive to people, remove it, said James Sacco, a geography professor and coordinator of African American Studies at Frostburg State University in Maryland, located about 20 miles east of the site. But not all are offended. Quite the opposite. There would be no decent substitute for the name Negro Mountain, said Ronald Sanders, president of a Pittsburgh area black historical group that cares for the area around the ridge. He states, "It's a very important part of African American history. One of the most accepted accounts says Negro Mountain is named after a heroic freed African American man believed to have been named Nemesis, possibly Goliath. The man, said to be the body servant of Colonel Thomas Cressup, died in a fierce battle in 1756 with Native Americans. Cressup, an English-born frontiersman and land speculator in Maryland and Pennsylvania, named the mountain in honor of Nemesis's race, according to an account from the Western Maryland Historical Library, part of the Western Maryland Regional Library of Hagerstown. That account also was published in Benjamin Franklin's Pennsylvania Gazette on June 17, 1756. Another account offers a different version, saying the man died while fighting with a captain friend. Regardless of which account is true, Sagu said, there is a high level of controversy over the legend of its naming because there are no documents in Maryland's state archives that prove Cressup named the ridge in honor of the fallen black man. If the story is to be believed, Sagu said, Cressup's rationale for naming it Negro Mountain doesn't make sense. They should name it after the person, not the race, he said. The United States Board of Geographic Names in September 1994, rejected a proposal to rename the ridge Black Hero Mountain. Two current proposals are on the board's slate. One seeks to name it Nemesis Mountain or Malcolm Mountain, after Malcolm X, the late black civil rights activist and leader of the Nation of Islam. The applicant, an Ohio resident, noted that the current name uses a racial slur and is named for an unknown man. Malcolm X, though not from either Pennsylvania or Maryland, was a known African-American hero that fought for the rights of all African Americans. The applicant wrote, "Outdated or offensive racial language is a valid reason for a name change," according to Jennifer Runyon, senior researcher with the Federal Board of Geographic Names. "People are becoming more aware," she said. "Language evolves, and names that were acceptable 100 years ago may not be now. However, those asking for a change should do their homework," Runyon said. "They should know how the geographic feature got its name and pick a new one that reflects the history or significance of the feature. Don't simply change everything over to oak or bear or elk or something bland," she said. "Respect. Recognition." The late Wes Slosher, formerly of McKeesport, a history buff and retired steel worker from U.S. Steel Duquesne Works, launched the effort to change the name of Negro Mountain at the federal level in 1992, according to the Associated Press. Slosher was the one to propose the name Black Hero Mountain. It was meant to honor the man possibly named Nemesis, as well as the 13 African-American Medal of Honor recipients from Pennsylvania at that time. The board not only declined the change, it voted to reaffirm the name Negro Mountain. Opposing the change at that time were government officials in Somerset County, the Pennsylvania State Names Authority, the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, the Maryland State Archives, the Deep Creek Lake Recreational Area, and the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Resources. Nick Mosby, a Democratic Maryland state delegate from Baltimore, proposed a resolution to form a commission to study the history of the mountain's naming and, if true, to rename it Nemesis Mountain. In Pennsylvania, State Representative Rosita Youngblood of Philadelphia also was determined to have the name changed. She introduced a resolution in 2015 to have the United States Geological Survey rename Negro Mountain and update maps, brochures, and any signs, but the Board of Geographic Names said new evidence would be required for another review. The Democrat who retired at the end of the year also attempted in 2007 and in 2009 to get the state house to pass a resolution asking the governor to form a commission to study renaming both Negro Mountain and Mountain Davis, the ridge's summit, to reflect the region's history. She added, "We as a society consider the term Negro to be at the very least outdated, if not also a little offensive." The effort never came to a vote. In support of Mosby, Youngblood wrote in February that a name was needed to ensure that the African-American man who gave his life receives the respect and recognition he deserves. At least one local black group is fighting to keep things the way they are. "There's nothing offensive about the name. It's in the eye of the beholder," said Saunders of Penn Hills, president of the Dr. Edna B. McKenzie chapter of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Members of the Pittsburgh chapter are proud enough of Negro Mountain to have adopted a Maryland roadside picnic area along Route 40, historically known as National Highway. They adopted the site as a show of respect, Saunders said, not wanting to get involved in the political issue.
Mount Davis, the highest point of Negro Mountain. Get rid of the beeps. Sorry for the beeps, peeps. But we're in the mountains and we've got the beat. And this is the way to the tower, we executed the rock climbing section of Mount Davis, which I didn't know it had, but that was interesting. They have that in, we should go to Lynn Run. Yeah, it's likely in here. They have stuff like that too. Look at the little mountain lookout. It's not as impressive as the tower at Davis.
The name Negro Mountain has been replaced with Mountain Davis Division as part of the Forbes State Forest, which encompasses portions of Allegheny, Fayette, Greene, Somerset, Washington, and Westmoreland counties. The Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources map no longer lists Negro Mountain as it did in the 1980s. We changed and updated the publication, said Edward Callahan, Forbes State Forest District Forester. The map does indicate that Mount Davis Natural Area is a 599-acre natural area surrounding the summit of Negro Mountain, the highest point in Pennsylvania, at 3,213 feet. Travelers along Interstate 68 and alternate Route 40 are no longer informed they are atop Negro Mountain. The Maryland Department of Transportation removed signs. They were taken down after determining the signs were not necessary for the safe function of the roadway, said Sherry Christian, Maryland State Highway Administration spokeswoman. Mosby, however, said the signs were removed due to concerns for racial insensitivity. The high point in Pennsylvania was named for John Nelson Davis, an early settler, American Civil War veteran, surveyor, and naturalist, known for his studies of the mountain's flora and fauna. During the Civil War, Davis served in Company E, 102nd Pennsylvania Infantry. The summit of Mount Davis may be ascended by car or a number of hiking trails. Its surroundings are noted for their patterns of unusual circular stone formed by periglacial action. A metal observation tower with a relief map of the region stands near the true high point. Mount Davis ranks 33rd on the list of highest natural points in each U.S. state. In 1921, the USGS established that Mount Davis was the highest peak in Pennsylvania. Previously, the highest peak was believed to be Bedford County's Blue Knob. On June 18, 1921, the local chapter of Commerce held a ceremony to celebrate the newly named highest point in Pennsylvania. In addition to the observation tower, a cabin once stood at the top of Mount Davis. Climate on the peak is warm in the summer and cold in the winter. Like much of Pennsylvania, Mount Davis can experience heavy winds, rain, and hail in the summer, with ice storms and blizzards in the winter. Temperature extremes range from -33 degrees to 84 degrees, though frosts have been recorded in every month of the year. Summer conditions are generally mild and winters are characterized by a lot of snowfall. Due to its high elevation, the area is much colder during the winter than Altoona, Johnstown, or State College, despite being well south of those locations. During the summer months, the area is a retreat for other Pennsylvanians, with high temperatures being cooler on average than Pittsburgh and eastern portions of the state. If you haven't visited the site of Mount Davis and the tremendous views, not only on the peak and the trails, but the surrounding community, I would highly suggest making the adventure to this high place. The legend of Nemesis is often overlooked and dismissed in the annals of history. The evolution of language has displaced the terminology that paid reverence to this hallowed ground. Often mistaken in ignorance as racist or misappropriated, the story of Negro Mountain is possibly an awkward conversation for some to approach. But if we are to understand the evolution of this country's past into its present state, we must be able to represent our heroes in context, even if we have lost our perspective of what these stories stood for and the impact that men like Nemesis had on this great nation that we now call the United States of America. Thank you for joining me on the journey into the mountains of history and remembering the lost heroes and frontiersmen who paved the way for our opinions. If you enjoy this content, please share, like, and subscribe to my channel, where we are looking for lost history and the stories that the meanings are and in jeopardy of being erased and not understood or told to our future generations for fear of intimidation. We cannot ignore or hide our past, but learn from it and grow stronger, united together in conversation as one people of this great nation, the United States of America. Thanks, guys.
First off, I love how it starts out with an immediate obstruction from going up. It's like, yeah, go ahead and duck underneath. Like you're an oil worker going up a derrick. Jill's getting it. Jill's been to the swimming hole before. Did you ever go to the swimming hole? You ever went to Idlewild and been to the stairs and you go up the stairs?
Oh, yeah.
It's just all this is. Hey, look, someone's eating Little Caesars. Whoa. I know. How about that feeling? Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
That was horrible.
I need to go back to Jumonville. Yeah. Oh. Holy crap. This is getting weirder and weirder. This is for real though. Like, this ain't no shit. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Oh my God, look what's on the step.
What is it?
Gary.
Gary! Nuh-uh.
Yes. Gary.
Legit though, when you get to like here and like this opens up, it gets a little bit like I want to grab onto something.
I'm grabbing on 2 hands.
And I'm not like too afraid of heights. This is cool. This is awesome, Jill. This is awesome. This reminds me of I'm gonna screw this up so bad, but like the Mr. Mangorium was Imaginorium, or whatever the hell that movie is. Whenever he takes him to the top at the end,
like it up here.
he takes him to the top of the mountain at the end. You know what I mean?
Seems kind of crooked.
You want the metal to wobble. Yeah, so here, let me show you the scenes from up here. This is pretty cool. Yeah, the wobble in the metal is good because it won't break. You know what I mean? Wait right there for 1 second. I just want to get like some